Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my dear friends. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much for joining this webinar, and I'm very excited about this particular webinar. We had another webinar just a couple of weeks back, in which we talked about a very special tool that we have created. And in today's webinar, we are going to talk about a very, very important topic. Okay, lead generation for IT service recruitment, managed service provider, staff augmentation companies in 2025 using technologies like AI and automation. Okay, so things have changed very fast in the last couple of years. So as the industry when it comes to lead generation and marketing. So this industry is also going through remarkable transformation. And today we are going to cover some of the things that is going on. And I'm going to share as much as we have learned in the last couple of years and in this presentation. And I want to pack in as much information and as much value as possible. So stay tuned, stay in this webinar. It's not going to be more than 45 minutes or so, but in those 45 minutes, I'll try to add as much value as possible. Okay, thank you so much again. So let's move on. A few things before we begin. Just please close all the distraction. Stay until the end of the webinar and use the Q&A feature for any questions that you may have. Okay, this is going to be a purely educational webinar, but of course, you may have some questions. Within the webinar itself, we may not be able to answer all the questions, but if the time permits, at the end of the webinar, certainly we will try to answer as many questions as we can. Okay. Now, with that, let me just go through a little bit about who we are and what we do. This is my company. Our company is called InsightTap. And our slogan is run your B2B enterprise company like an e-commerce store. Personally, we have worked with IT service, managed service providers, staff augmentation companies in this particular area for last 10 years or so. And we have helped enterprise and IT companies with growth marketing and ABM, okay, in different fields. All right. Why should you listen to me? Yes. Okay. So before I launched this particular company, I've been doing freelancing and I'm still doing freelancing. I'm one of the top seller in Fiverr Pro category. If you don't know what Fiverr Pro is, then it is the Pro category within Fiverr. It's a pre-weighted selected top 2% of the freelancer. And among those, I'm also the top seller, right? So I've been doing this for over 18 years now, and I am a pro for the last 5 years or so. And I've been mostly working with B2B tech companies and IT service companies and managed service providers and staffing agencies and tech agencies in my career. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much about me. Let's move on. Here's the big promise. This is the reason why you have joined this webinar. So I'm going to go through the big promise. By the end of the webinar, you will know exactly how to generate high quality leads for your IT service or staffing company or managed service provider or staff augmentation company and like so on, using some very advanced and modern techniques that are there in 2025. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm pretty sure that some of you are going to learn quite a few new things which is going on. We are also in the process of learning. I consider myself as a student in this area. There's a whole new spectrum of opportunities that has opened up, and we are living in very exciting times, and the possibilities are endless. So we're going to discuss some of the possibilities that is there in this particular industry. Okay, now quickly, who is this for? If you are into HR agency, if you're into recruitment space, staffing space, manpower provider, you're at the right place. If you're an IT company, if you're an IT service company, IT security company, managed service providers, and like so on, even a tech partner, then you are at the right space. And if you are a B2B company for looking for certain different type of methodologies to grow your business, then also stay in this webinar. I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a few things, by the end of the webinar. Okay. All right. Let me talk about traditional lead generation. I'm going to talk about the traditional lead generation as well. But let me talk a little bit about traditional lead generation, especially in the B2B IT service space, and IT staffing space. I have been in this space for 18 years now, and I've taken different roles, including a role of a developer actually. So this particular space is a very interesting space. Okay, it's a pretty old industry as such, and there are traditional ways of generating lead, and we'll go through some of the traditional ways as well. And using those traditional ways, the industry has worked for many decades now, right? Okay, so these are some of the very commonly known traditional techniques which is still valid, and we still do it for our clients. It's perfectly fine, but this has been there till now. Paid ads, you run paid ads, and Google ads, Bing ads, LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, social ads, and basically the goal is, if somebody is looking for you, or if somebody has an intent of buying your product or services, then you should be in front of them. Okay. uh, in this particular industry, a lot of companies have traditionally relied on lead generation agencies, cold list providers. For example, if there is a trade show that has happened, there are lead gen agencies who will provide cold list of all the attendees to all the companies, and you basically try to reach out to them, and like so on. And then, of course, there are good old listing sites, starting with G2, SourceForge, Clutch, Agency Spotter. These are listing sites. They provide good leads. And even though they are a little expensive, but I have worked with these companies for a very long time. They work very well, and they do provide leads. And finally, one of my best is the events, the trade shows, the partner events, and stuff like those. So this going to trade shows and events is also one of the traditional ways by which a lot of company generated demand in this particular industry for a very long time, and it is still valid. Nothing is going to be taken away. But we are living in a time where things have changed, and that there are new strategies, a new method that has come up. And apart from everything that is going on, but that is already there, we will try to add layers of new technology, new methods, new strategies, so that you can speed up your demand generation, and you can keep up with the pace that which is going on in terms of change in this industry. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. The demand is time bound in this industry. What do I mean by that? What I mean is the demand itself is time bound. If you're into IT service, or IT staffing, or any staffing or manpower service provider, there is something, the demand itself is time bound, in a sense that if you are say a managed service provider in Europe, and you're providing IT security people to data centers, then if the data center requires those people, then you provide them, right? So they put up a RFQ, or they put up a request, and then there will be vendors or companies who will basically bid for it. And if they win the bid, then they go ahead and provide those manpower to those companies, or do a managed service for that particular company. The challenge is that the demand itself is time bound. That means, there is a certain timeline for the demand. So if somebody needs 10 different security engineers, they need it right now, or in next 1 week, or next 1 month. They may not need it after 1 year, right? So this is a unique challenge which this particular industry faces more than any other industry. That means, the demand itself is bounded by time, right? Okay, so you got to fulfill the demand within the time bound, or else practically the opportunity is nullified, right? Okay, and you lose the opportunity in the process. So we're going to talk about all of this, and how we can cater to that. We will also talk about the hidden dark funnel. Okay, you must have been wondering what this dark funnel is. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the presentation. But there is a hidden dark funnel that people are not aware of. Okay, let me put things in the perspective. For example, hidden dark funnel. Traditionally, what has happened? For example, you run Google ad, okay, saying that, hey, we are a managed service provider in Germany, or UK, or whatever. Okay, we are that, right? You are running Google ads, you're running LinkedIn ads, and stuff like those. And if people see your ad or people are searching for you, then they will click on it. They will land up in the landing page or your website. Then they will either give you a call or they will fill up a form, right? So they will fill up a form. The form value will come down to you as an email, or it'll go to a CRM where your salespeople, your business development people will basically capture that particular lead and then try, to contact the prospect and take the sales process forward. That is how traditionally things has been done, irrespective of what channel that you use. Even when you go to a trade show, you collect leads, right? People who are interested in your services. Then you come back, give those leads to the business development managers and the salespeople. They will upload it into Salesforce, and then they will start calling up or sending emails, for follow-up for the next step. That is what traditionally things has been in many industry, But now we are living in an age where we are able to track and trace what we call as the dark funnel. That means out there in the internet, there are intent and then there are signals, what we call as intent and signals, which are all over the place. Okay. And you're not able to know that. Okay. For you, it is dark. You don't see them, but they are there. Okay. And they need your services. And maybe they are not able to find you. Maybe you are not in front of them, but the intent is there, the signal is there. And if you are able to trace that and leverage that, then possibly you will be able to, create a pipeline on that. So we are going to talk about a hidden dark funnel and how it works in this session. All right. So let me quickly jump into this mind map. So folks, is this visible? Is this visible? Can somebody just say yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me talk a little bit about, the new playbook. So what is the new playbook? Okay, we talked about a lot of stuff, and we talked about how the demand is time bound, how there is a hidden dark funnel out there, and what is the future of automation? Okay, this is a question that is baffling a lot of people. And we are also exploring this. We are working on this every single day, and we have tried to put together, a bunch of information that is going to help you in the coming days, right? That's the goal. Okay, let me talk about the playbook, the GTM playbook for IT service and staffing companies. So GTM means go-to-market. So what is the new GTM? What is the new go-to-market for IT service and staffing company? Okay, and we are going to discuss that. We are going to discuss the lead gen methods, what are there, what really works, what doesn't work. We're going to talk about a little bit about the dark funnel that I'm talking about. And then we're going to talk about how we can create a personalized outreach, for this. So there's a very simple 3-step process that we have created, and we use it for our customer, and it has been very, very successful. We use it for ourselves also. And around that, we have built, products and solutions and services that we help customers with. Okay, now let's talk about the lead generation. Okay, what is the framework of lead generation for this particular industry? So if you are into IT service, managed service, staffing, manpower industry, or recruitment, or if you are a recruitment agency, how does lead generation works? Okay, so let me just go through that quickly. These are some standard practices that I've already talked a little bit about. Okay, you can run paid ads, and we do that. We do it as a service. You can run, PPC ads. You can run social ads. You can even do what we call a job portal promotion. For example, you can promote yourself on different portals, okay, including Indeed and other places, and of course in places like LinkedIn. You can run ads. This is something which is pretty common. And if you are a company, if you are, say, a IT managed service or IT security service provider, you can run Google ads saying that, hey, you know what, if anybody is looking for that particular service, they will type IT service company in Germany or Romania or whatever, and then your ad will come up and you will show up, and hopefully, they will contact you. Only challenge with this is, of course, it is getting more expensive over the time, and it is getting harder and harder. At the same time, it still works. Okay, I'm not taking anything away from it. We are running this campaign. It still brings the best leads. There's nothing, no denying in that. If you're doing it, please keep doing it. Okay, there's nothing. And if you need to do it, if you want that service from us, we can provide you that service as well. Okay. So social ad, primarily into LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads, sometimes Meta ads also works in, but primarily these two channels works very well. If you're into this particular industry, LinkedIn is the best channel. Twitter is also good if you want to target certain leadership. Uh, you know, people who are into leadership position, then Twitter ads works very well. Else, LinkedIn ads is the best when it comes to social for this particular industry. PPC works, Google ads, Bing ads. If you're in US, then possibly Bing ads is also a very good option. That you can look into it. There are other platforms like DuckDuckGo. If you wish, you can do that. Okay, but these are of course, the biggest platform out there. If you want to do some branding and promotion on job portals and other stuff, you can do that. No problem in that. Absolutely, this works, and go ahead and do that. Many companies, we also provide services like display and video ads, including Google Display Network, Taboola, YouTube, for our clients, and that also works very well because at the end of the day, in this industry, a solid brand matters a lot, right? If you have built a brand, it matters a lot. This sort of an ad, please keep doing that. Of course, you have to weigh in the expenses, but these are the standard channels, that paid channels that really works. There are hundreds of channels out there. I can talk all day on this, but these are the most commonly used, at the same time, most useful channels for paid ads for this industry. Okay, and that is based on our experiences, more than 10 years of experience, and we have seen these things working. Okay. In terms of PPC, there is another channel which is Google Business Account that also works very well. So if you are running Google Ads account, make sure that you also add a Google Business account, Google Business Ad or Google Local Ads, right? And that also works pretty well. So you can add that as well if you are already doing it. Okay, that's our input on this one. Next up, cold leads. Cold lead has been the part of B2B forever now, and you can, most of the people in B2B now, they are aware of these techniques. But if you're not aware of it, basically cold lead means that you find your target prospect, you find their information, their email address, their LinkedIn address, their phone numbers, and then you try to reach out to them. Okay, that's the long story short. Why it is called cold? Because they are not really hot, right? They're not really hot leads. That means they have not come down to you. They have not filled up a form in your website saying that please contact me. That's a hot lead, right? So that's why it's called cold lead, because they're not coming to you. Instead, you are reaching out to them. So there's a bunch of tools out there. This is just a few of them that I have put up for the lack of space. Of course, Apollo is very famous. ZoomInfo pretty famous. Cognizant works very well in this particular industry, especially if you are in Europe. Cognizant works very well because it seamlessly has GDPR integration as well. It follows all the right guidelines and compliance when it comes to GDPR. So this is also a very good platform that we have seen that has worked, especially in Europe. Lucia is good if you are looking for mobile numbers. Then Lucia has been traditionally pretty good, and LeadIQ is another very good tool, just like Apollo and ZoomInfo, to provide you very good contact details, cold list, right? Sometimes many companies, they also find leads based on technology lookup. For example, you're only catering to customers who are using SAP or Oracle. Then you want to basically categorize your customers based on the industry size and also the technology that they're using. For example, they're using SAP and they're using some other tool like Salesforce. Then only that customer is your ideal, it fits your ideal customer profile. So many of our clients, they also heavily rely on what we call as the technology lookup. So there are tools and there are a bunch of tools out there, including ZoomInfo and Apollo, which will be able to give you a list based on technology lookup. basically you feed what technology, you feed those technology, and you feed the kind of company you want to target, and then you'll be able to build the list. Okay. And of course, a lot of companies, they all still rely on lead generation agencies. Uh, so the lead generation agencies provide curated list, specific list that you want, and it can be something like, hey, I want all the visitors of this particular event that happened last February. So there are lead generation agencies who do that, and of course, there are so many other ways of creating curated lists. So that's another way of doing it, right? We have worked with a lot of lead generation agencies over the years, and there are various ways by which you can use those lists. Okay. Okay, now the third way of doing things is using inbound leads. That means, people coming to you, the leads coming to you, right? You're not reaching out to other people, instead, they are coming to you. The best way of lead coming to you in this industry, especially in IT service and staff augmentation, IT recruitment space, is partnership. Many companies, they have partnership, and they get a lead or they get a RFQ, and then they give it to all the vendors. They have a vendor list, and whichever vendors give them the right quotation, they win, and they grab the project, and they fulfill the requirement, and like so. So this industry is very heavily dependent on partnership, and we understand that, and we have worked with in this model for a very long time. So this is another good way of generating inbound leads. The other one is, of course, trade shows. You go to trade show, there are people coming up, and then you talk to them and you generate leads. The only challenge is these are a little expensive. Trade shows and all is expensive. So it's not a cup of tea for everybody. But if you can afford it, then it brings very good quality of leads. Social media thought leadership. Yes, of course. If you have the time, if you can leverage LinkedIn and Twitter and all, use social media organically, create thought leadership content, it works really well. Obviously, it has its own cons in terms of giving all the effort and building the team. Another technique that has worked really well for us in the past is engaging in niche communities. For example, there are communities out there, security engineers, or database security consultants, or stuff like this, or field technicians, or SAP, SAP coders. So there are so many communities out there, and what we have found is engaging in these communities, in LinkedIn, in Slack channels, Reddit, industry forums, in different places, brings very good quality lead. So if I want to suggest you one thing, if you're not doing it, then this is something that, and if you have the time or the team to leverage this, then please go into this, work with these communities. It has brought some of the best quality leads for us and our clients in the past. Okay. So engage with the communities, especially niche communities, and be patient. Don't be too salesy. Just be patient. Try to add value. The way we used to engage in most of the communities is not to say, hey, we are a IT security service provider, and this is what we do. That is not something you'll get banned from these communities. The way to do that is add value, okay, and add information and education as much as possible. Ebooks, white paper, webinar, videos, and just keep posting it. Okay, and in those content, try to sell yourself, right? Okay, that's like an indirect way of doing it. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. Okay, and the last but not the least, the listing sites. Never Get Sold, SourceForge, Clutch, Agency Spotter. I mean, there are so many, right? Software Suggest, Gartner. I mean, there's a bunch of them. They do provide leads, but at the same time, they are a little expensive, and they only provide leads for certain locations at a time. So, but you can do the listing. There's no harm in that, but it requires some level of work. If you are willing to put in, they do provide leads. So, that's another very good way of generating leads for this particular industry. Okay, so this is inbound lead. And then finally, the outbound lead. How you do the email outreach, you do LinkedIn outreach, you do cold calling. It never gets sold. You get the list of email of your target prospect from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, from Apollo, from ZoomInfo. You send the LinkedIn outreach, you send them messages, you give them a call, you send them an email. That is also one of the traditional way of doing it. And this has been going on for the last 20 years or maybe more. Okay, this has been what the traditional lead generation has been. Okay, so if I'm going to just type down this, okay, so we have got paid ads, we have got cold leads, inbound leads, including trade shows and conferences and others, and community engagement, and then outbound. Okay, these are traditional ways of generating lead, and it still works. And don't stop it if you're doing it. It is certainly getting more and more expensive over the time, but what we are trying to showcase in this particular webinar is not to remove what you're doing, but to add and to make it more efficient. That's the goal. Okay, so if you have already built over the years these processes, keep these processes. But in 2025, there are ways by which you can make this more efficient. You can and make it more effective. All right, in terms of demand generation for your business. Okay. All right. Now let me talk about dark funnel. Okay, we did talk about dark funnel a little bit. I did talk about the fact that in traditional lead generation, you reach out to them. If they reach out to you, and there is a transaction happening, okay, and only if they give their contact details, or if you are managed to get the interest from them, then basically the transaction happens. Okay, so I sincerely feel that traditional lead generation is not more than 5%. What most of the companies explore. Okay, this whole thing is just 5% of the big pie. There's a 95% customers prospect out there who most companies, even the large ones, they are not able to reach out because they just don't understand. They are not in front of them, or they are not able to find you, and there's no transaction happening, right? Okay, that's the only reason. Only if you can find if there are need out there in the market, and they give certain signals and intent of their need, and if you are able to reach out to them quickly, then there'll be a deal, right? And that is the whole concept of dark funnel. Okay, so dark funnel means a funnel which is dark, right? That you will not be able to see it, but it is out there. If you're able to figure it out, then basically you are up ahead in the game. Okay. Now, how does dark funnel work? Dark funnel work in what we call as the intent and signals. So if there is an intent and then there are signals, right? And we'll talk about more about intent and signals for this industry and how to identify those intent and how to identify those signals. Now, even in the lead generation, there are intent and signals. For example, you are running Google ads, PPC ads, search ads, and somebody is looking for managed IT service provider near Berlin. That's an intent, correct? That's an intent. They're searching for, you are running ads. If you come on top, if they click on you, if they talk to you, you have a good chance of creating a lead out of it, right? So there is an intent, and if you are able to be in front of them, basically you will be able to do the transaction. Okay, so even in the traditional lead generation, there are intent and then there are signals, but it is known. We are talking about there are other forms of intent and signals that typically you ignore or you overlook, and how to use technology in 2025 to make it more efficient. Okay, enough said on this. Let me just move on. This is what the top intent signals are in 2025. Okay. Now with the technology called reverse IP tracking, which is available, you can basically, if somebody visits your website using the reverse IP tracking technology, and there are companies like this who provide this sort of a technology, and all you have to do is just take this tracking code, put it on your website, and you'll be able to track the website visitor. What can you track? If you're in Europe, you'll be able to 50 to 60% of the time, you'll be able to figure out the company name if they are coming from company domain. Okay, 50 to 60% of the time. That's not bad. In the US and outside of Europe, you can even sometimes track the exact person. There are technologies out there which will help you track the exact person. Technologies like RB2B. So if you're in the US or places outside of Europe, then you can explore that as well. The hit ratio is around 20 to 30% or maybe 40%, not more than that, but that's enough. That's more than enough. The point here is there are people who are visiting your website, they're not filling up your form, they're leaving back, but they are leaving their trace. And with this technology in place, you'll be able to find out those people, if not those companies, and then you can create your own outreach towards them. So that's totally possible. So that's the most profound intent signal which is out there. If you are not leveraging it, go ahead and leverage it today, right now. Okay, and if you need our help, let us know. We do that every single day for our clients. But if you want to explore more, just go ahead and explore these tools. You'll get enough information out. The next most important signal for this industry is the job post and hiring signal. The most important, apart from the website visit. Why is it? Because if somebody is posting a job, say for IT security engineer, and you are a company in Munich or Berlin, and you are looking for customers who are, you have a team of security engineers, and you want to deploy them, or you want to do a managed service, or you want to just, send them as a, you are working as a manpower recruitment agency, whatever be the case. If you can get a signal right away that somebody has posted a job, and if you can get the signal in real time, then you become very powerful. Okay, that means you will know that, hey, this company in my city or in my country or wherever I want has posted this particular job. This company fits my ICP, which is ideal customer profile. The need is good. I can provide that. Then the next step is you have to find out the decision makers within the company, and then reach out to them. You can reach out to them via LinkedIn, email, even phone call. Who's stopping you? You can do that. And we do that for our customers. It works really well. Phone call really works very well. All you have to do is just pick up and say, hey, you know what? I saw that you have posted a job. We are a manpower service provider. We provide this kind of stuff. Why don't you, just talk to us? And then you can start a conversation. Okay, or else you can send an email or LinkedIn message, whatever. That's the number 2 most important intent signal. And in fact, just to dwell a little bit more about that, we have created a tool to make life easier. Okay, it's called the Job Feeder. And I'll just show a small demonstration. Typically, most of our clients, before they coming to us, they used to go to LinkedIn and put somebody, and they used to just scrape the LinkedIn or look for companies in LinkedIn posting the job and like so on. So it was very tiring. And LinkedIn is only one platform. There are hundreds of platforms like this. So we actually created a tool which is called the Job Feeder, and it works like this. It's pretty simple. So this, you put the job title that you want, put the location, you put the date posted, just run it. It scrapes the entire internet, Indeed.com, LinkedIn.com, career pages, freelancing site, you name it. And it'll build the list using AI. It's an AI agent, by the way. Okay, we have another separate webinar on this. If you're interested, you can register for that particular webinar, or we will send you the video around that. It's a pretty simple tool, and it is helping dozens of our customer find real-time job posting signals, and then they are doing the outreach right away. Okay, so that's another one, very, very important. These 2 are the most important intent signals in this particular industry. Apart from that, there are other signals, for example, fundraising, of course, new product launches, tech adoption. For example, they have moved to SAP or Oracle or whatever, and then G2 profile visit. If you have a G2, if they have visited your profile, G2 itself has intent signals which can be integrated to Salesforce and HubSpot, and like so on. Okay, and then there are other signals also. For example, increase of team members, rapidly growing company, and stuff like that. There are many more which I have not put up, but I hope that you got the point here, right? Okay. And also there are other signals, for example, engagement. They come down, they engage with your chat, but they did not fill up the form. Okay, that can also now be traced. Okay, they engage with your email. You send an email outreach, then they're engaging with you. They're engaged with your ads. They have not become a lead, but they're engaging with your ads. Okay, and so you can create, even in around those engagement as well. So now there are AI powered tools social listening school tools, which will basically listen to your own pages and also your competitors' pages. So if there are prospects who are engaging with your competitors' pages, then possibly they are a good prospect for you. So there are tools out there as well. I don't think so. This webinar is going to be enough for me to go through all the tools. Possibly I'll have to create multiple webinars, but this webinar is to give you an overview. I would really be interested in what you want to explore more. We have built tool like this ourselves, some of the tools ourselves, but we are also a service provider. We work with a bunch of tools and we can, give all these solutions to you as well. Okay. So I'm not going to go on deep dive. Possibly, if I get the request, I will create a separate presentation on this. But I hope that you got the point, of idea of what are the top dark funnel intent signals out there. If you are not leveraging it, please start leveraging it today. Okay, because your competitors most likely they are doing. So now you are doing a traditional lead gen. You're also, finding the intent signals, okay, and creating the account pipeline or company pipeline or lead pipeline. The next step is to create personalized cold outreach. Okay. Now, why did I use the term personalized? Because it is personalized. Now we have technology in place by which you don't have to just say, hey, first name, we are service provider. Please look at it. There's a lot more you can do. Okay, so it can be a lot more personalized. Even though it is bulky email, it can still be personalized to a large extent. And not just email personalization, I'm talking about LinkedIn outreach, I'm talking about content, I'm talking about ads. I'm even talking about ads. So instead of spraying and praying, you can have a very, very personalized targeted ad. I'll give you an example. Suppose some companies, they visited your website. There are certain companies who visited your website, never filled up the form. Okay, you make a segment. Okay, then they posted some jobs for hiring. That's another signal. You add these two signals. Okay, then the next step is that they have engaged with your website for more than 20 seconds. Okay, now out of these three signals, which are dark funnel signals, intent signals, you create a separate segment and then run a retargeting ads on LinkedIn, specifically targeted ads on LinkedIn. That's it. And we can create hundreds of use cases like this. This is just one use case. We have so many different use cases, and possibly each use case can be a webinar. But I hope that you got the point here, that I'm trying to make. So personalized cold outreach, account lookup, lead feeder, of course, for website visitors, you can use tools like lead feeder, Clearbit, 6sense to find out who visited the website, and these tools will look for do account lookup. That means they will match the company, right? Using IP, they will match the company, and then they will say, hey, this user has come from this particular company. Then what you need to do is, the next step is you need to do lead enrichment, right? So for example, you can use tools like Apollo, Clearbit. I mean, there are so many other tools, and Phantom Buster, where you can enrich your data. Okay, you can add more data, and you can find the decision makers and add some more data. Okay, and even from your own CRM, you can add that. Okay, and then we do what we call as the process automation, right? That means we automate the entire process. Say they have visited a site, they have posted this sort of a job. Okay, they engage with our website, and then okay, fine. So based on this information, what sort of an outreach I can create? So that outreach will be very personalized, taking all this information. It will not be just a generic outreach, right? Or somebody has posted a job, okay, but they have not visited the website. The goal is to bring them to your website, right? So you create another personalized outreach for that. So and like so on. So there can be many different use cases, and then you create outreach, right? So you can run email campaign, you can run LinkedIn outreach, you can do cold calling, and now we have tools available which is AI cold calling. You don't even have to put human beings. Now AI is getting smarter and smarter, and there are tools that we have also worked can do the cold calling on your behalf, and it fairly does a very good job, and it is improving every single day. And also on top of that, you can also run hyper personalized retargeting. As said, they visit the site, they have certain signals, they engage with the landing pages. Okay, based on all this information, some information will come from CRM, CDP, Some information will come from website. Some information will come from other signals. You create the segment, you run retargeting ad on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Google, YouTube, whatever. In that case, you don't have to advertise yourself to the entire world. You're only advertising it to the people who really matter, who has an intent, who has a signal, who is your ideal customer profile, who matches your ideal customer. You only show your ad to that. It is much more efficient, much more effective. You don't waste your ad money. You save your money. You talk to the right people at the right time using the right message. That is what the game is going on in 2025. Okay. I have tried to simplify it as much as possible, but I hope you were able to grasp everything that I say. I'm going to have a follow-up webinar on this as well. Please do in the comment section ask your questions. I will try to answer in the upcoming webinars. We are going to conduct this webinar on a weekly or a monthly basis. We'll keep every one of you informed. And if you are interested in our tool that I just showed you, which is job feeder tool, let us know. Our team will just reach out to us, and our team will give you more information on that. Or else you can just visit my website. So this is our website. Just visit our website, and this is the tool. So you can just explore the tool here itself. We have recently done a beta launch. We are going to do a full product launch in the next few weeks. Okay. Now, I think with that, I want to close the webinar. If there is any questions, please let us know. Thank you so much.